Hi friends, I'm Lisa the Ukulele Fool. This has been my vlog every day in August. Have I made it every day? No, but I still keep trying. It's showing up. I keep showing up. So if you're in a place in your life where it's like, oh no, I don't practice every day, well, forgive yourself and keep going. Well, today I thought I'd share my story. Here's the short version. I have had many multi-instrument experiences in my life that have been truly phenomenal. And then I met the ukulele, and that was the match in heaven that I was waiting for. End of story. well, a little bit longer version. I knew from the time that I was very little that I wanted to be a musician. And I wanted to play the piano, but my parents say, no, we don't have room for it. We don't, we don't have the money for it, whatever. So eventually the flute came across my radar, and a really cool story that involved a flood and a family taking us in that we had never met before. And the youngest girl in that family, who was about 5 years older than me, is the one that inspired me to play the flute. So 8 years old, I got my first flute, and with my flute, I got to travel as a teenager like nobody's business. I got to go all kinds of places, Europe, Carnegie Hall, Philadelphia, Chicago, all sorts of little remote places in Alaska. It was amazing, truly an amazing journey. So when I went to college, of course, I was going to be a flute performance major, but I had a backup. I was going to be a music education major too. And I was so used to auditioning and things like that. And something happened I think it was probably my junior year in college. I had been flying overnight, flying all day to get to the start of the school year, and got off the plane and felt horrible. Got to school and had to pull myself to an audition, and I did super horribly. And even though I played in the orchestra before, I didn't make the orchestra. Turns out I had the flu, and there was no second chance, and there was no rescheduling. This is just the way it is, and that's kind of like the classical world of music. That's the way it is. So I didn't want to be in marching band because I didn't know much about marching band, and I didn't grow up with it. And they had their rehearsals on Saturday, and games were on Saturday, and it's like, no. Oops, my dogs are asking for attention. I joined what was called Veggie Choir. Oh, Vegas. My dog is messing with my stand and everything. Veggie Choir. And then I discovered that, oh, you know what? When the pressure's off, music can be really fun. And that was kind of a turning point. And so I really looked more seriously towards the music education portion. And my girlfriend was a band director in Fairbanks, Alaska. And so I wound up studying to be a band director, except for that's not the job I got. I got a job in general music, singing and playing piano. And yeah, I could play piano, and yeah, I could sing, but, marginal. I'm going to have to let the dogs out. I'll be right back. I've just come back from taking the dogs out, and they had to visit with the neighbors and everything. Where was I? So there was kind of a magical confluence of events the last year of my college and going into my teaching career that changed my life, made me a percussionist. Yeah. Well, first thing that happened is I broke my hand really badly playing soccer. I don't know if you can see this scar. I still have a scar. Had to have 2 surgeries. It took me a long time to rehabilitate my hand back into flute playing. I saw the job market shaping up. I saw that my girlfriend only had half-time employment as a band director, but if I went to general music, I could have full-time employment, and I was able to get a student teaching position with a teacher that was doing this new innovative style called Orff Schulwerk that dealt with all this percussion instrument, which meant that I didn't have to play the piano badly for kids. So percussion just was a really good fit for me. This was pitched percussion, working with kids, where you're playing rhythms and singing with children. Playing rhythms, playing the chords, singing with children. See, there's a connection there. So I got a job, my very first job out of college. In fact, I didn't even go to my college graduation. I came up to do an interview. Got a job, taught there for 21 years. I had a job where they had all these Orff Schulwerk instruments, tons of percussion things, working with kids. I worked with their speech and language preschool all the way up through 6th grade. Got to do all sorts of fun stuff in the summer with camps and workshops with kids. So I dealt with older kids as well. Played with the symphony at times doing percussion, because I said, well, I can count measures rest as good as anybody else and play that triangle. So, but even, doing mallet percussion, things like that. And I still continued to play my flute. And I had adventures in musical theater. I wrote music for kids, both in my job and then also for a local theater company. I even got a synthesizer and things like that, and a MIDI interface, and did performance and also rehearsal tapes for musical theater and plays with music. Did all kinds of things. Towards the end of my teaching career, I was taking piano lessons, again, trying to be a better piano player. And my piano teacher said, who was a friend, said, I hear they're going to start a steel drum band at the university. Should we do that? And it's like, well, yeah. And next thing you know, I'm teaching the class and having a blast at it until it wasn't fun anymore. Part of it is that being the director of a band, and there's competition globally with steel drum bands. Trinidad, the home of steel drum, the birthplace of it. Competition that's just part and parcel of steel drum band playing. It's all about competition and having to make decisions as a director, and not nobody, but I couldn't make everybody happy. And the instruments are expensive and heavy, and my joke is 2 hernias later and a lot of politics. I just quit. I still have my steel drums. I played them for a couple of years after I gave up teaching the band, but I have drug them out. The wounds were really deep. And as much as I really still consider those people my friends, and there's many of them are still playing now in a community steel drum band, I don't know. It was just hard. I went for a while kind of in a musical desert. My flute was still very much part of what I was doing. I've played with some of these people since I was in high school, 40 some years. Not regularly and consistent, because of my travel schedule sometimes wouldn't allow for me to play with my flute group, which was only performing once a year. And, that girlfriend that had a job in band, well, she was also a flute player, and she lives just up the road from me in Alaska. And she said, we started a ukulele group. You should try that. And she said that for a couple of years, until finally I said, okay, I'll make the time. I'll do it. I got a garage sale ukulele, showed up to that first group thing, and was hooked. Just absolutely hooked. As soon as I could, I bought the best instrument that was available to me at that time, and I haven't looked back. And I think the biggest thing is, first of all, the portability. You can take it anywhere. People don't know what to expect when you play ukulele. I can sing with it, and it's really helped my singing get a lot better. Of course, I sang a lot for my job, so that also helped it get better from my days in high school. But I can sing. I can make music with other people. It's very accessible, and I can't say that flute music is accessible to all. Steel drums, huge investment in equipment and storage space and everything else, lugging in, as I 2 hernias later. This, I could pick up even if 3 of my fingers were missing. And the community is amazing. As much joy as I have with my flute group, as much fun as I had performing with steel drums, there's still always an element of right, correct, and competition. And while those things still do influence my playing, wanting to perfect and smooth out my playing and helping other people to find joy in making their playing better, not because you have to make an audition tape, not because you're going to have fabulous travel opportunities like I did because I was willing to audition. It's more personal, and that's my story, how I got to the ukulele. And I'm so grateful that I have so many years of teaching experience and making music and having to reinvent myself as a musician so that I keep enough of that in my brain of what it's like to be a brand new learner on an instrument to help others do that. And so that's my story. I hope you found it interesting. If you haven't subscribed to my channel, I'd sure appreciate it. It'll help other people find it. And I'm going to, after this week, I'm going to start putting my keister in gear and working on doing lots more tutorials. So keep spreading the ukulele love and tell me about your ukulele journey. See you again.